Every day you wake up inside a weather system of feelings, shifting, unstable, unpredictable. If your actions depend on that weather, your life will too. A standard is the first shelter. It's the fixed point that doesn't sway with your moods, your energy, or your stories. Once you understand that, consistency stops being emotional and becomes operational. Hey there, it's me, Core, and you're listening to Exercising Consistency, from fitness to flourishing. Two things defined. Motivation is an internal emotional state. Enthusiasm, urgency, inspiration. It arrives without invitation and leaves without warning. It's real and sometimes useful, but always temporary. If your practice depends on motivation, your consistency will mirror your moods. That's not a flaw, that's the nature of feelings. A standard operates differently. It's a fixed reference point. It doesn't care how you feel. It simply states, this is the threshold. Each day you either meet it or you don't. You choose a standard once. Motivation must be felt again every morning. Consistency has nothing to do with motivation. It has everything to do with whether you've defined a standard and whether you return your attention to it. The motivation trap. Motivation has been marketed as the solution. Fitness, self-help, productivity. All of them tell you to find your why, get fired up, want it badly enough. The implication is that the feeling will carry you. It won't. You already know this. You started programs with genuine enthusiasm. The feeling faded. The practice stopped because you built your practice on something that cannot hold weight. The trap has three forms. The chase. You try to recreate the feeling that carried you through the first 3 weeks. New content, new gear, new spark. None of it replaces the standard you never set. The permission structure. When motivation is present, you train. When it's absent, you skip. Mood becomes the determiner of action. Your agency is outsourced to a feeling. The shame cycle. You assume the absence of motivation reveals something about your character. It doesn't. It reveals only that motivation is transient. It was always going to leave. What a standard is and what it isn't. A standard is not a goal. A goal is an outcome you want. A standard is a threshold of behavior you meet regardless of outcome. The goal says, lose 20 pounds. The standard says, train 5 days a week. One is a hope about the future. The other is a commitment in the present. A personal standard of excellence has 3 properties. It's chosen, not imposed by a trainer, a program, or social media. It's what you decide in an honest moment aligns with who you aspire to be. It's fixed. It doesn't adjust to your energy level. It doesn't soften on tired days or intensify on strong ones. It removes deliberation from the moment of action. It's minimal enough to survive your worst day. A standard that requires you to feel good is not a standard. Define the smallest action that keeps the standard alive. The full workout may happen most days, but the standard is the line beneath which you do not fall. A standard is not perfection. It's a reference point you return to. The discipline. 2 moves. The discipline is how you condition the standard. It has 2 moves. reinforcement and redirection. Both are neutral, neither carries moral weight. Reinforcement. When a choice aligns with the standard, notice it. Register the alignment. Record the data. Move on. Redirection. When a choice falls short, notice it. No narrative, no self-judgment. Register the gap. Return attention to the standard. The next choice is open. The discipline is not performance. It's the practice of returning attention to the standard regardless of the choice made. The person who returns to the standard 100 times in a week practices the discipline more thoroughly than the person who never deviates but never notices their consistency. The return is the work. The choosing self does not require motivation. The choosing self, what the Stoics call the proeresis, is the faculty that decides what action to take in any moment. Motivation is a preferred indifferent. Nice when it's present, irrelevant when it's absent. It has zero bearing on your freedom to choose. That's the point. Feeling motivated is not up to you. Acting is. The standard you set is. The feeling that accompanies the action is not. Once this distinction becomes operational, the entire structure of excuse and negotiation collapses. You've been waiting for a feeling you do not need. You've been treating the absence of motivation as a barrier when it's simply the absence of a feeling. It's weather. If you're committed to running, you don't need ideal conditions. You adjust. You dress differently. You slow down. You still run. In the gym and beyond. The philosophy becomes practical the moment you walk through the door. Define the standard before you begin. Write it down. Name the behavior, not the outcome. 20 minutes of exercise, not a great workout or feeling strong. Those are not up to you. When the impulse to skip arrives, don't argue. Don't negotiate. Acknowledge the impulse and return attention to the standard. Follow through. Then reinforce that choice. After the session, register alignment or gap. No story, no praise, no punishment. Data. Move on. This architecture applies everywhere consistency matters. Writing, finances, relationships. The domain changes, the skill does not. The person who writes for 20 minutes each morning, regardless of inspiration, uses the same faculty as the person who trains regardless of motivation. The person who reviews their spending every Sunday, regardless of anxiety, uses the same faculty. The standards differ. The mechanism is identical. The fixed point. You don't need motivation. You need a standard and the practice of returning your attention to it. The standard doesn't care whether you slept well, feel inspired, or had a good day. It's the threshold you chose in an honest moment. It's the line beneath which you do not fall. Motivation will come and go for the rest of your life. Will you act in its absence? The standard answers that question before the feeling gets a vote. The takeaway. Motivation is optional. A standard is not. Define the threshold. Honor it. When you drift, come back. When you excel, come back. The person who keeps returning to the standard is the person who becomes consistent, whether they feel like it or not. To exercise consistency and become the person who follows through on their most important goals, join the Act Score Challenge. That's it for today. Catch you next time.